Hello YouTube, it's me KT and welcome to the video. Today I am taking a walk. I want to yap about animation and you're going to sit there and you're going to listen to me yap. So I'm at my friend's neighborhood. We just got done doing some work together. I am walking around and we need to talk about the animation discourse that's been going on YouTube. Apparently it's also happening on X, but I'm not on there. But this discourse is like the specific conversation of creators are saying that they want to see animated movies be less about the creators' specific life experience and more generalized stories. And to this I disagree, and I don't understand why everybody's saying it. So people are saying that they feel like stories nowadays are taking people's personal experience, adding some fantastical elements, and then they're just seeing that same thing happening over and over again. Bestie, that's what animation always was. Right, let's look to the past. The Incredibles. The Incredibles is a family drama, and would you believe it, the creators of The Incredibles, they do in fact have families. You know what, actually, let's not even go to the past. I'm going to talk about what's being discussed right now. So I just watched a review of Kpop Demon Hunters. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. What are you doing? I just watched a review of Kpop Demon Hunters, and in that review, they said that they enjoyed the movie because it didn't do the same thing that all these other movies have done and pull from the director's specific experience. It told a more general story. It was a story of dealing with shame and of like learning to accept yourself. And to that I say, literally, what are you talking about? What is it that you're speaking of? Because another movie that's been involved in this discourse is Turning Red. And Turning Red is allegedly on the other side of the story, where Turning Red is too much about a specific person's creative vision and their specific life. Turning Red and Kpop Demon Hunters. I don't even have to try to make these parallels, but since you insist they must be made, I'll make them. So, you guys like Kpop Demon Hunters because it is about dealing with shame and a coming of age story on dealing with shame, and I forget the other thing that I just said. Shame, self-acceptance. Shame and self-acceptance, okay? Turning Red. It's a coming of age story about a young girl dealing with feelings of shame as she's growing up and learning her self-acceptance. There are magical and fantastical elements in Kpop Demon Hunters in that they're demon hunters. There are magical and fantastical elements in Turning Red in that she turned into a panda. Okay, then we get to the specifics of the creators' interest. K-pop Demon Hunters is laced not only with K-pop but with just Korean history and folklore in general. And y'all are telling me that's the generalized movie that you can relate to? I think the issue here is that you don't like Turning Red. I think that's your problem. Because never in my life have I been a mermaid, but I liked The Little Mermaid because I just liked the story. So never in my life have I been a Chinese preteen, but I liked Turning Red because I enjoyed the movie. Never have I been a K-pop idol, but I liked K-pop Demon Hunters because it was a good movie. You know, it's a movie that is very general, has absolutely zero input from the creators, the directors, the writers, the artists, anybody's life, and is just the most basic, bare bones, empty, soulless, just generic ass story you could tell. Secret Life of Pets. Is that what y'all want movies to be from now on? The Secret Life of Pets? I've tried to understand it, and I've heard so many creators who I really think are intelligent and who I've been watching in the animation space for so long say this. So I've tried to understand what you're talking about, but it doesn't make any sense. So now you've caught me monologuing. I'm walking aimlessly around my friend's neighborhood just so I can rant about this before I drive home, because I don't get why this is a discussion. You want general stories? And there is a little bit of idea to this thing that Disney Pixar was in a phase of repetition where they were repeating stories about family struggles over and over. Say that then. Say you don't want to see any more Encanto, Elemental, Turning Red, etc. Say you don't want to see any more family struggles. Just say that then. Because why are you telling me that the issue is that the writers and the directors and the artists and the creatives are pulling from their life experience? That's how you tell a story. What happened to art reflecting life? What happened to write what you know? Now you want them to write some random bullshit? Just forget every experience I've ever had in my life, and I'm gonna pull from a hat of tropes, and out of it will come a good movie? Huh? You guys make it sound like you're watching a bunch of animated biopics. You're not. You're not. That's not what you're viewing. You're seeing creative stories. Or, well, we can't give them all the same level of credit, but hey, you're seeing fun stories. You just don't like them. And that's okay. You don't have to like it. But it's especially confusing because I know where this discourse comes from, and I just don't understand how you all got so confused in the process of talking about it. So my guess as to where it comes from is that the new CEO, leader, director, whatever the fuck, the new somebody at Disney Animation said that they want Disney to like stop telling original stories and instead focus on like generic stories that every audience will enjoy. And somehow you guys have come to agree with him. I thought that was a terrible take. I thought that was a horrendous take. And yes, like, there is some level of media literacy missing because y'all don't like turning red because your reasoning is that you've never been a Chinese teenager. Like, have you ever been Iron Man? What are you talking about? But you can't tell me you want generalized, generic, boring-ass stories and then be bumping soda pop in the car. Like, pick a struggle. But yeah, that's what I was saying. So the Disney man was saying that they want to basically just keep making remakes and sequels, and that they don't want to tell any original stories because audiences can't relate to them, and y'all are proving them right for some reason. I don't know why you've chosen to do that, but that was a terrible take because it leads to what happened with Elio, where you have a very specific story. If you don't know, originally Elio was supposed to be gay coded, and it was talking like about him struggling to accept his, flamboyancy, femininity, gayness, etc. And that's too specific for what Disney Pixar wants to do right now. So they take out the core of the story and they put back in nothing. Right? They gave you nothing. Nani is dealing with the death of her parents and having to raise her little sister as a child herself. And they take that out. They take out the Ohana means family and they put in nothing. And you're left with a movie. This is a little bit of a Lilo and Stitch live action, right? You're left with a movie that has no character arcs because nobody changes. The only one who changes is Stitch, and that's not an arc. That's just a random snap of the fingers, and he decides to be good. This is a movie with no character arcs, no themes, because Ohana means family gets trampled all over during that movie. So then what's the theme? Nothing. And almost no plot. Because if Nani doesn't care anymore about keeping Lilo, why are we even here? That's what y'all want to watch, though, apparently. Apparently you don't want the writers writing the movie to use their own life as input to what would be good to write and what would connect with people. Very befuddling. Deeply confused right here. Okay, I'm sorry for the lighting in general, and I'm sorry the camera's been shaking so much, but I feel like the point still stands. My points being that writers telling very specific stories, like Encanto, like K-pop Demon Hunters, leads to a very good story, like Encanto, like K-pop Demon Hunters. It doesn't matter if the story has a niche audience, right? K-pop girlies. I'm not a K-pop girly. That whole playlist, that whole album is in my playlist. I'm not a K-pop girly. I don't have any other K-pop songs in the playlist. It's all K-pop Demon Hunters. It doesn't matter that it had a niche audience. It was a good enough movie to carry itself to other audiences. It doesn't matter that I've never, not one time, been a Korean teenage idol star. I'm still able to relate to the characters and their experience. It doesn't matter that I've never been Korean. I'm still able to understand the themes, the story, and the things that the Korean team wanted to say about Korean history and culture. Stories, oh my god, I'm sorry, that's too shaky, I can't do that. Oh, it's the sun. I have to hold it weird because of the sun. Stories should continue to be about specific things that the writers have experienced, and if not that, stories should at least continue to feature the writer's personal life experience as inspiration. If you've never been in love, how are you going to write a romance? If you've never had a family, how are you going to write an effective family drama? What I think really needs to happen is that stories should also continue to, as they did with K-pop Demon Hunters, Leave their creatives alone. Let them do whatever they want to do for however long it's going to take them to do it. And let them create the K-pop Demon Hunters, the Lego movies, the Encantos, the Spider-Verses of the world. Stop trying to rush. Stop trying to crunch. Stop focusing on the bottom line above anything else. And we'll stop having trash to watch. That's my final take. Thank you. If you are of the camp of I don't want any specificity in my movies, please explain it to me. Because it's a take that makes no sense. All right, goodbye.